What are the key principles of good design?
Good design should be functional, aesthetically pleasing, intuitive, and accessible to all users.
How do you approach a new design project?
I start by researching the target audience, analyzing the competition, and defining the project goals and requirements.
What design tools are you proficient in?
I am proficient in tools such as Adobe Creative Suite, Sketch, Figma, and InVision, among others.
Can you walk me through your design process?
Sure, my design process typically involves research, ideation, sketching, wireframing, prototyping, testing, and iterating.
How do you gather and incorporate user feedback into your designs?
I use various methods such as user testing, surveys, and interviews to gather feedback, and then use that feedback to iterate and improve my designs.
Can you show me examples of your previous design work?
Yes, I would be happy to show you my portfolio, which showcases some of my previous design work and design process.
How do you stay up to date with current design trends and technologies?
I attend design conferences and workshops, read industry blogs and publications, and experiment with new tools and techniques to stay up to date.
How do you prioritize design features and functionality?
I prioritize design features and functionality by considering the project goals, user needs, and business requirements, and then focusing on the most important features first.
What are the essential elements of a good user experience?
A good user experience should be intuitive, easy to navigate, visually appealing, and should meet the needs of the user.
How do you ensure that your designs are accessible to all users?
I make sure to follow accessibility guidelines and test my designs using tools like screen readers and color contrast checkers.
How do you work with developers to ensure that designs are implemented correctly?
I collaborate with developers throughout the design process, providing them with detailed design specifications and working with them to address any implementation challenges.
Can you describe your experience with user research and testing?
I have experience conducting user interviews, surveys, and usability testing to gather feedback on designs and inform design decisions.
How do you create wireframes and prototypes for your designs?
I use design tools like Sketch or Figma to create wireframes and prototypes, starting with low-fidelity versions and iterating as I receive feedback.
Can you explain the difference between UI and UX design?
UI design is focused on the visual and interactive elements of a design, while UX design is focused on the overall user experience, including factors like ease of use and accessibility.
What are some common design mistakes and how do you avoid them?
Common design mistakes include poor usability, lack of accessibility, and not taking user feedback into account. I avoid these mistakes by prioritizing user needs and conducting thorough research and testing.
How do you approach designing for different devices and screen sizes?
I design with a mobile-first approach, creating designs that are scalable and adaptable for different devices and screen sizes.
Can you discuss your experience with designing for different platforms, example, web, mobile, desktop?
I have experience designing for various platforms, including web, mobile, and desktop. I adapt my designs to the specific requirements and constraints of each platform.
How do you handle design critiques and feedback from colleagues and clients?
I actively listen to feedback and seek to understand where the critiques are coming from. I then take the feedback into consideration and work to incorporate it into my designs.
Can you explain your design thinking process?
My design thinking process involves understanding the problem at hand, researching and gathering information, brainstorming and ideation, prototyping, and testing and iterating on the design.
How do you balance user needs with business goals in your designs?
I always keep the end user in mind while also ensuring that the design aligns with the business goals and objectives. This involves conducting user research and incorporating user feedback throughout the design process.
Can you discuss your experience with designing for international audiences?
I have experience designing for international audiences and understand the importance of considering cultural differences and preferences. This involves conducting research on the target audience and incorporating relevant cultural elements into the design.
How do you ensure that your designs are on brand?
I work closely with brand guidelines and use them as a foundation for my designs. I also consider the overall brand image and incorporate brand elements and messaging into the design where appropriate.
What is your experience with creating style guides and design systems?
I have experience creating style guides and design systems that ensure consistency across various design projects. This involves creating guidelines for typography, color, imagery, and other design elements.
Can you walk me through how you designed a specific feature or project?
Sure, I can walk you through my design process for a specific project. This involves understanding the problem, researching and gathering information, ideation and prototyping, testing and iterating on the design, and ultimately implementing the design.
How do you measure the success of a design project?
The success of a design project can be measured in a number of ways, such as user satisfaction, task completion rates, engagement metrics, and overall impact on business goals. I always set measurable goals for each design project and track progress towards those goals throughout the design process.